pundits and hyper-partisans will hear my words as a rejection of the normal order. You see, I'm supposed to say nice things and accept my fate. They will complain that I should not use this moment to recap what was done wrong or to demand a remedy. You see, as a leader, I should be stoic in my outrage and silent in my rebuke. But stoicism is a luxury, and silence is a weapon for those who would quiet the voices of the people. And I will not concede because the erosion of our democracy is not right.
And that was Democratic candidate Stacey Abrams conceding in the Georgia governor's race last year. But despite her loss, Democrats are not counting her out. On Tuesday, it was announced Abrams will deliver the Democratic response to President Trump's State of the Union address next week. After the announcement, Abrams tweeted, "At a moment when our nation needs to hear from leaders who can unite for a common purpose, I'm honored to be delivering the Democratic State of the Union response." So what can we expect from Abrams? Well, joining me now is Anna Palmer, a senior Washington correspondent for Politico and co-author of Politico Playbook. She recently interviewed Stacey Abrams for Politico's Women Rule podcast. Anna, welcome. Great to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
So Anna, Abrams lost her Georgia race by fewer than 2 points, but despite losing, she told you she would not have run a different campaign. Is that right? Why is that? And tell us what she's been up to since the election.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things when Stacey Abrams looks back at her race, I think one of the things she's most proud about is the number of voters that they were able to register, kind of the galvanization of the electorate in Georgia, getting a lot of minorities that had never signed up to vote again. I think she blames really her loss on, kind of the system and voter suppression, and that's something that she's been working on very hard since the election.
And since she believes it was not a messaging problem that cost her the race, what would you expect from her with the State of the Union response? What do you think we can hear?
I think she's going to double down. I think one of the things all the political reporters in this last cycle were watching very closely is she really was a bright shining light for the Democrats in terms of running in the South as a liberal. I think you're going to see her double down on some of those themes that a lot of the kind of younger, more progressive candidates and now lawmakers have focused on. I do think you're going to see race play in this, in her speech. It's something that she talks a lot about, and it's something that she doesn't shy away from.
It's interesting. Congressman Joe Kennedy gave the rebuttal last year and tweeted some advice to her, including be yourself, keep your snacks handy, and don't forget your chapstick, I guess. Giving this address has sunk people in the past. It's not always easy sailing. But Abrams says she isn't done running. So should there be any concerns?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, these things are always fraught with potential peril for whoever gives the response. You're going up against the president of the United States and the biggest stage in the country. And so there's a lot of pressure there. I think one of the things that is key for her is she's taking a serious look, she told me, at that Senate race in 2020. This is a clear sign from Senator Chuck Schumer, the minority leader, to give her a very big stage to get some excitement there.
I'm glad you brought up that 2020 Senate race because, of course, everyone wants to know whether she's going to run or not. What did she have to say about that decision-making process?
Yeah, she was very clear-eyed about this and wasn't shying away from or coy. A lot of candidates, right, or potential candidates don't want to talk about it or say, oh, I haven't really thought about it that much. I mean, she is taking a clear examination of trying to assess the situation. She was in Washington when I interviewed her, and she said she's going to make a decision in the next few months. I believe that will be in March. So definitely something where she is taking a very close look at whether this is the next race. She said she's definitely going to run again, though.
All right. Well, and you discussed with her what it's like to be both a woman, a person of color in politics. She describes using it to her advantage, correct? I mean, what more did she have to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, she definitely was very candid about some of the hurdles, and certainly in this governor's race, a lot of kind of attacks were made on her race, the fact that she was single, a lot of innuendos about that. And her response to me was, she wanted to face it head on, and she hoped that it wouldn't make other women less excited or less willing to run, because we are targets, and women are often targets in different ways than men are when they are on the campaign trail.
And she also seems to believe, or she said so to you anyway, that the road to the White House in 2020 runs through Georgia. How did she lay out that math for you?
Yeah, I was a little skeptical about this. You always hear about Iowa, you hear about New Hampshire, South Carolina, and then Super Tuesday. Her point, I think, was twofold. One, she felt like this is the one state in the South that because of demographics, because of enthusiasm, Democrats have a real chance at. And two, that there's a lot of votes that are up for grabs, and that it's a media market that isn't super expensive, right? If you look at California, you look at New York, you look at some of these other high target values for Democrats in the primary season, they have very high costs in terms of advertising, and Georgia, besides Atlanta, is relatively much lower than that.
It's got those 16 electoral college votes. Not too shabby.
Yeah.
All right. Anna Palmer of Politico, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks.